Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Red X podcast. My name is Andrew, and I am so excited for today's guest. He's been on the show before. His name is James Shelby, and he is an amazing real estate agent out of California. He's been licensed since 2012, so he's got well over a decade of experience successfully selling homes in one of the craziest markets in the country, in California, right? And today he is going to be sharing a lot about building your brand through social media, right? Leveraging social media to build your online presence and turn that into a successful marketing strategy. So we'll jump in with James in just a couple minutes here. Before we do that, I want to share a couple of really exciting updates from RedX. The first one being our new website. We just launched a new website, redx.com, same domain, new design and new content here. So please go to redx.com, check it out. It's really sleek. It's really intuitive. We've got success stories. We've got all of our products and pricing, and we've even built into our design kind of a robust listing strategy that agents should follow. Breaks down all of our products into a very simple, easy to navigate kind of listing strategy structure. And as always, we've got amazing resources on there. Please check out our blog. We've got a lot of amazing content on there. And that's also where you can find our podcast, virtual trainings. You can sign up for our prospecting bootcamp, or you can find support and FAQs on there. So again, please go check out our new website. It is amazing. The second thing I want to share is our objection handler e-guide. This is an ebook for free that you can download right here that has objection handlers for any occasion, whether you're prospecting expired leads, for sell by owner leads, geo leads, for rent by owner leads, pre-foreclosures. We've got dozens of scripts in there that will help you have better conversations and set more appointments, no matter who you prospect to, right? So go check that out. I'll throw the URL up here on screen, redx.bz/handle it, all one word. Again, that's redx.bz/handle it to download the complete objection handler e-guide from RedX. That's totally free. All you need to do is enter your name, email, and phone number, and you can download those to implement into your business. Whether you prospect or not, they are very helpful to navigate conversations with potential buyers or sellers. So please check that out. Again, check out our new redx.com website. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode with James Shelby. Let's get to it. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the RedX podcast, or welcome back to the RedX podcast. I'm super excited for today's guest. We've got James Shelby joining us from California. James, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me back on. It's been a little while.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had James on the podcast several times before, and it's always a real pleasure talking to him. He's got a lot of great insights and strategies around real estate, and we've talked a lot about, I think, circle prospecting in the past. So if anyone out there is looking for some good circle prospecting strategies, please go to our YouTube and check out those past episodes with James. Really top-notch stuff. I think there was one that was like an hour long, which is way longer than we usually do, but so much good content on that podcast. We just had to keep rolling. So, but we're going to keep things a little bit shorter today. I'm excited to talk to James. We're going to be diving into building your brand on social media, which is a huge topic. James here has an amazing social media presence. And I'm looking at his Instagram right now, and I love it. Got a ton of followers, got some amazing posts. So hopefully we can uncover some of the strategy and the attitude and mindset behind that. And we'll dive in. Before we do, though, remember to like and subscribe on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you like to watch podcasts, or if you listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're at. Leave us a review, like and subscribe, and you'll get notifications every time we do a new episode every week. So, James, let's dive right in. I want to start kind of high level here. Will you start? I mean, I already mentioned that I love your social media presence, right? You've got a lot of consistent branding. You've got great posts. You've got intriguing ideas going on. Can you start by sharing how you started building your brand on social media, and then how it kind of evolved over time?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was an early adopter when it came to, Instagram. I think, back in it's probably been 2012, something like that, when I first jumped on. And, it was just almost like at that time you could just share pictures and everyone kind of had these old timey filters. And it was a strange
Right.
time looking back on it. But what I realized early was if I share what I'm doing, and I think I got licensed in 2010. No, I got licensed in 2012. So right about the same time.
Okay.
I noticed if I just shared the things I was doing, open houses, and I was doing a lot of door knocking at that time, the people I knew that followed me on there, it started to really, I guess, prompt these conversations about real estate, and that was where a light bulb kind of went off. And I had a good mentor at the time when I first got into real estate who was really big into Facebook.
Mm.
And so he said, look, when you just got your license, and coincidentally, I found him. I didn't know who he was until I actually found him on Instagram. His name is Miguel Aguilar. And he was really heavy into real estate at the time. He's transitioned into a big social media guy and a gym owner, and he's a big time guy now. Still a good buddy of mine, but he gave me some great advice that you really got to be on there sharing everything. Facebook, this new thing, Instagram, and then it just kind of evolved from there. So that's kind of a long introduction to it, or a long answer to your question, but that's really how I got started. Was he referred to Seth Godin? I think it's a book, Purple Cow.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, look, when you look out over a bunch of cows, you want to be the purple one because that's the one that's going to stand out. So he said, keep putting stuff on social media and make sure to put a little flair on it, a little something different than any other realtor is doing, and you're going to stand out. So
Right.
that's kind of how I got started. And obviously it's evolved a lot through the years. But that was the infancy of my social media.
Yeah, totally. No, I love that. I love that. And I love that, you got in early. And I think a lot of new agents are like, well, I can't get in early. I can't, I'm late to the game. I think a lot of people feel like, so we'll get into strategies for them here in a little bit.
Sure.
But I want to ask you, what did you do early on and what have you done since that has made you that purple cow? What has made you this strong, recognizable real estate brand on social media in your area?
I think a lot of it has nothing to do with real estate. I think everyone knows a realtor or 10,
Yeah.
and everyone knows the realtor that's either been in real estate for 25 years, and they've got their headshot from 1985 and they don't really do much on social media. And then everyone also knows the brand new agent who makes it look like they sell a lot of homes, but they don't really sell anything. And I think, when it comes to real estate and standing out, you almost want to attract people through things that have nothing to do with real estate. And so throughout the years, yes, I've shared what I'm doing and I've shared, this just listed and the just sold and that type of stuff. But really in between that, I'd say 60% of the time I sprinkle in a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with real estate, because a lot of the people that are going to follow you would rather see things about lifestyle, would rather see things about the community that you live in. A lot of people would rather see maybe some motivational stuff, rather than just, hey, I just listed a home or I just sold a home. I think you sprinkle those things in as a reminder that what you do and that you're good at it. Kind of a social proof is kind of what I like to call it, that, hey, yeah, I do sell houses, but is that going to interest most people? Not really, so I would say, most people don't follow, the Kardashians or something because they sell products. They follow them for their lifestyle. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to buy all the products that they, introduce here and there. So I think you want to get people to follow you because of your lifestyle or your knowledge about your local community. And then, oh, by the way, I also help people buy and sell, so I think that's kind of something to keep in mind. Go 60-40 60% lifestyle, motivational, community, and then maybe 40% sprinkle in with the real estate. I'd even say 70-30.
Okay. Yeah. And I've heard similar numbers before, James. I've heard people go as extreme as 80-20, right? And it just depends on how comfortable you are, how much content you have and all that. But I love that. I love the idea of, it shouldn't be about a realtor, because a realtor at the end of the day is a salesperson, and that's fine. And that's, as long as I think everyone is aware of that. But if you can come across as a community expert or as expert or someone helpful or someone knowledgeable, you can build that know, like, and trust rapport without even having done business with them, right? And I think social media has really enabled that in a powerful way. So I love that, James. I want to dive in and get a little bit more specific with some strategies and stuff, right? So I'm going to start this kind of in reverse to how I normally would with a question here. But agents talk all day about what works for them, right? And we'll get more into that. I want to know more about what maybe doesn't work, or maybe some failed experiments, things you've experienced or experimented with in the past, and lessons you learned from that, right? Can you think of anything that hasn't worked for you and has caused you to kind of pivot and change your social strategy?
I was kind of thinking about what I just said, and I might backtrack for a second if I may.
Yeah.
Because I want to revisit the question you just asked me, but I want to make this clear to people that there is not necessarily one formula to being successful on social media. What I'm talking about, and the kind of the strategy that I've implemented, the heavy on the lifestyle, heavy on stuff that's outside of real estate, that absolutely works, and that's what's worked for me. But on the flip side of that, I know agents, and I've seen agents that have built a very good business and referral source from social media that have posted nothing but home tours. So I do want to kind of, I guess I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, but you can build, I don't think it's necessarily building a brand as much. I don't think you're going to connect with your sphere and your database and your community as much going that route. But you can be, if you're the type of person that says, I don't want to be the face of this, if all you did was consistently, and I think that's the key word, consistently posted home tours of either new builds or homes that are for sale in your community, and you did high quality tours of these homes and posted one per day, I think you could absolutely build a referral based or not referral based, but a new business, attracting business through social media that way as well.
Right.
So I want to make that clear before kind of I move on, that there's no one set way you have to do social media. There's multiple different ways you can attack it. But in my case, I think you're going to build a bigger, more consistent brand if you do it the way I did it. But there's multiple ways to kind of skin the cat, so to speak. So, but to answer your question that you just asked me regarding, what hasn't worked or what I don't think would work. What I don't think would work, number one, is inconsistency. So jumping on Facebook or Instagram and posting once a week, once every few weeks, and expecting to get some sort of result. You might have people that know you, that see you occasionally posting and think, oh yeah, I got to call John. My grandma passed away, and let's see if John can help me. But you're really not going to build a consistent brand that way. So first and foremost, be consistent. Don't be inconsistent, because at the times where I've really kind of slacked, there's been times through the years where I've scaled back and didn't focus. I notice, my analytics go way down. The amount of people I'm reaching goes down. So I would say, starting with that, just be consistent. Don't think that you can jump on and post once every couple of weeks and you're going to get some results. Second to that, biggest don't. I never personally did this, but I've seen a lot of agents that will hire a company to post for them and post just kind of generic content. I've seen that a lot where there's these companies out there and they claim to kind of be the answer to the problem. Hey, we'll post for you. You don't have to worry about it. But the problem with that is they're just posting generic stuff. You know, the engagement's going to be low. They're not going to get to know you as the brand. So I would say shy away from those type of companies. If you maybe are a higher producing agent already and you want to implement social media into your business on top of what you're already doing, but you're thinking, I don't have a lot of time. If you're doing well already, that means you're probably making some good money. What I would try to do in that case, instead of hiring a company to do that, I would hire a videographer, sit down and batch record content in maybe 2 or 3 hours in a week, and then pay them to chop it up and post it for you. Because at least then it's going to be you, the brand, and it's going to be high quality, video content.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I want to hone in on one thing you said there.
Yeah.
You were talking about results. Like, what kind of results am I getting from social media?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe my metrics are off or whatever you mentioned.
Yes.
What are those results that you're going for? Is it awareness? Is it followers? Is it leads? Is it people that actually convert into business and real estate listings? What are your key metrics, your KPIs for a successful social media following?
I think when you have a business profile on Facebook, Instagram, all these platforms, they're gonna enable you to see what your analytics are. How many views you're getting, how many new followers you're getting. So I think it's important to track those things. It's not just about the likes in the views necessarily, because as long as you're getting in front of people, I think it's always a good thing. But those are things to keep an eye on. If you're not posting consistently or you're putting out content that's just subpar and you're not getting a lot of engagement or you're not getting a lot of views, you've got to maybe switch up your strategy a little bit. So those are things that I look at, is the analytics. The views, how many people are following you that are seeing your content versus how many are kind of new people that maybe aren't following you, that the content's being kind of put in front of. Those are all different, numbers that you can look at to see whether you're going up or down in, the analytics world of social media. I will say it is a little tough to gauge, how many deals come directly from social media versus how many people follow and see you a lot and then just call you direct and don't ever say, hey, I'm following you on Instagram and this is why I'm reaching out. Through the years, yes, I've had a lot of people that have direct messaged me from social and said, hey, I followed you for a while. Now I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z, buy, sell, whatever. But a lot of other times it's people that maybe call and don't ever mention how they kind of found you. So it can be a little tough to track exactly what what leads came from where. It can get a little difficult, but I think it's more about branding and awareness when it comes to social media. And, I think it's important to have call of action in a lot of your posts too. DM me if you want to see this house, DM if you want this or that. I think that will help trigger more inquiries than it would just posting without any call to action at all.
Okay. And kind of honing in on this idea of engagement, right? How often are you jumping in the comments? How often are you checking your DMs and replying to those? Is that something you do every day, every week? What does that look like?
Yeah. I would say, I carve out with social media, if you're running a real estate business and we've all heard, hey, you got to treat this business like a business, don't just treat it like a hobby.
Right.
So I would say you're going to want to implement a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, depending on, how much social media you want to do. But you have to implement that into your schedule, just like you would prospecting, just like you would follow up. There has to be a section of the day carved out for you to work on your branding and your social media. If in fact that is something you want to implement into your business, because, if you don't set aside the time for it, you're either not going to do it or you're going to do it when you can, and you might actually end up spending more time than you need to, going down the rabbit hole of, just scrolling, So
Right.
I think it's important to carve out that time, not only to make sure that you do it, but also carve out that time to know, okay, I'm only going to be doing it for 20 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever. And then once that's up, I need to go on to the next thing, because social media can be a tool, but it can also be a huge distraction. If you're spending
Mhm.
multiple hours on there a day, and you're not really accomplishing much, that's not helpful either.
In the competitive and fast-paced world of real estate, your online presence is your most powerful tool. And as a busy real estate agent, you probably know you need to spend more time growing your business on social media. But if you're like most people, you don't have the time or know how to become a social media expert. With 68% of sellers choosing their real estate agent based on reputation, you can't afford to not post engaging videos on a regular basis. Which is why I want to tell you about Brand Builder from RedX. Brand Builder is a tool that provides custom social media video editing and management for real estate agents and teams looking to grow their online presence. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok, you can capture your audience where they're already paying attention. With AI-generated scripts, teleprompter support, and quick turnaround times, it's never been easier to start attracting business from social media. You can choose from our flexible packages, including social video edits starting at $267 per month, or go unlimited for your comprehensive content needs. And with our social media management add-on, your online engagement will skyrocket, leaving you to do what you do best, closing deals. Don't let social media be an afterthought. Schedule your free demo at redx.com/brandbuilder and start building a brand that attracts transaction-ready homeowners today.
Yeah, and I love that sentiment because I hear it all the time where agents, especially when they're trying to prospect, right, and trying to cold call and doing that kind of thing, they go out of their way to find distractions and find them from doing the things that is difficult, uncomfortable, painful to do. And I think social media universally is the easiest form of distraction, but I can see how that could be especially difficult for prospecting agents. So I love this idea of cut out, maybe 30 minutes of dedicated social media real estate time a day. Check your DMs, respond to some comments, maybe follow a couple people, maybe, reach out to a couple people. I think that's great. Okay. So we've talked about kind of your background in social media. We've talked about what works, what doesn't work. I want to get even a little bit more granular and talk about specific strategies and daily actions and different habits and stuff. So first off, do you do any paid advertising through social media?
I don't. Through the years, I've probably done a few, paid advertisement type posts, but it's
Sure.
not something I implement really as a strategy. It was more out of curiosity to see, okay, how does this work? How can I,
Sure.
how many views can I get per dollar type of thing? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But I think with the paid stuff, you absolutely want some sort of call to action. Because if you're just boosting a post with no call to action, if you're just doing nothing more than trying to get more eyeballs, I mean, I guess that's good. But I think if you're going to spend money, especially if it's a post like, you've just listed a property or something like that, and you're really trying to get a lot of eyeballs on it, you want some sort of call to action, DM or, message us to see this property or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So, that's not been a big part of what I've done through the years as far as strategy. But I think one strategy you want to kind of keep in mind, and maybe this is more a philosophy than it is a strategy, but when you think about marketing anywhere, if you think about TV commercials that you're going to see these days or through the years, invoking emotion is one of the most important things you can do when it comes to your posting and your marketing. And what I mean by that is if you watch television or, I guess we don't sit down and watch TV as much as we used to, right? But you're streaming something, you're seeing some sort of advertisement. Most of the time they're trying to invoke some sort of emotion, whether they're trying to make you laugh, trying to make you, maybe think about something, trying to make you have some sort of maybe fear of missing out. Hey, this is only going to last, promotional thing, only a certain amount of time. Or maybe they're kind of tugging at the heartstrings, especially these days. We see a lot of, commercials that are really like, hey, we're helping the environment, or we are, there's some sort of emotional connection to the people that you're seeing within the advertisement. And I think if you can implement that into your social media, that is huge. Whether that's making people laugh, maybe it's stuff that's funny, maybe it's something that, hey, this is what it's like to be a renter, and your landlord says, hey, we're selling the home, and now you and the family have to pick up and move. And, this is the importance of home ownership, things like that, where you're going to invoke some sort of emotion, go a very, very long way. So I would say, as a strategy, you want to think about what kind of emotion can I pull out of someone with the post I'm going to make. And, it doesn't always have to be that way, but if you really think about it, that is a huge part of marketing, and it always has been.
Absolutely. I mean, I would agree. I would say that it's almost all of marketing, right? Is getting, presenting yourself as kind of the guide to your potential client or customer, so that they can become the hero of their own journey, and eliciting some kind of emotional response so that they can come out on top and feel like that hero. I love that. So no paid, and that's great. The only reason I ask is because I see that you've got like 17,000 followers on Instagram. You've got a huge following, and a lot of people will use paid advertising or use some of those different strategies, at least to get more engagement, more eyeballs, that kind of thing. But it sounds like you have. I mean, you've been on Instagram for whatever 12 years now, 12, 15 years, something like that. And it sounds like that's all organic growth, which is super impressive, which leads me to this question is, with all those people, right? 17,000 followers. I'm sure you get quite a few comments, quite a few DMs, quite a lot of engagement. How often do you encounter negative feedback, negative comments? Let's call them social media objections, right? How often do you encounter that? And how do you handle that to kind of maintain brand integrity and all that on social media?
That's a good question. I think there's certain posts of mine that have really gone, I don't know if viral's the word, but you get in the hundreds of thousands of views. And those are the ones I think where you find you'll get the most negativity, because when you have something that kind of takes off, that means it's being put in front of people that don't follow you. And it's, when it's being put in front of people that don't follow you, especially, a large audience, all of a sudden, the algorithm and the way these things work is really weird. You might have a big following, but if the post just doesn't hit, only a small amount of your followers are going to see it. And then, a small amount of people that maybe don't follow you will see it. But the only time I've ever, really encountered the negative stuff is when you have one that really hits. And a lot of times it'll be, about something like the benefits of renting versus owning. And those kind of take off, and you get the people that will kind of argue with you or put in their 2 cents of why they think you're wrong, or and there's a couple different ways that you can handle it. I've always implemented the kill them with kindness strategy,
Sure.
and I would say on YouTube as well, because I do a lot of YouTube, and I know that might be a podcast for another day, but YouTube's been a great source of business for me as well. But, unless the comment is just really nasty and vulgar or something like that, if it's just someone that is giving their 2 cents, I'll always acknowledge it and thank them, almost to say, hey, I appreciate you chiming in. I appreciate your viewpoint on it. And I kind of leave it at that most of the time. If it's a really rough comment, I'll delete it, because, I don't want people to have to sift through vulgar, comments and stuff like that. But It's pretty rare that you get that, Yeah, so I just kill them with kindness and thank them for the comment.
Sure. And I love that strategy. And what I'm hearing you say, and this kind of stands out to me, is a lot of people, it's the same with phone prospecting, right? You get objections, you get shut down, you get no, you get told to F off, whatever it is, that can be discouraging, right? But I think on social media, it's easy to get discouraged on social media and be like, man, I had so many people shut me down today. I don't want to post ever again. Right. You should put it through the opposite lens, because what I'm hearing you say is that if more people are giving you negative comments, that means more people overall are seeing your post, which means you're getting eyeballs, you're getting views, you're getting the attention that you need. Yes, the most verbose people are the ones kind of jumping in there, but what that means is attention. It's an opportunity to realize that more people are seeing your stuff, to jump in and be diplomatic and be kind and kill them with kindness. And ultimately, kind of this social media no, or this social media rejection or negativity ultimately adds up to a good thing, which is it's working. You're building a social media presence, you're getting more eyeballs, and you're just getting, that 1% of people who are naturally inclined to be a little bit negative. And that's okay too, right? I love that. Well, James, we're running a little bit low on time here. I've got to jump off in just a few minutes here, but I want to give you one more opportunity to leave any final advice, maybe for new agents who feel overwhelmed by the idea of starting on social media. Maybe a veteran who's been in the industry forever, but now they're losing some business to people who are on social media. Any final advice that you have for our audience today before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think, don't ever think that it's too late to start. A lot of times people think, oh, well, Instagram's been around for, 15 years or whatever. I'm too late. But some of the biggest biggest accounts, they grow quickly, and if it's not necessarily when you start, it's about how good the content is and how consistent you are. So, I've seen people that started in this social media, really dove in maybe just a few 3-4 years ago, and they've already surpassed me. They're doing it at even a higher level than I am,
Wow,
so
yeah.
There is no, hey, I'm too late to the party when it comes to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I started in YouTube just a few years ago, and last year I closed 7 transactions just from YouTube alone.
Wow.
And I'm still just trying to figure out YouTube, and I'm getting better and all that, but it's never too late to get started. I guess that would be the first thing I would say. And then, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think consistency, above all else, consistency really, really matters, because if you're not consistent, you're not gonna grow. And that goes with almost anything in life, right? Whether it's you're trying to get in shape or you're trying to, prospect. If you prospect once a week, probably get better results if you prospect 5 times a week,
Right.
and you're consistent. Yeah. So I would say consistency. And then lastly, I would say consistency is important, but you also want to know kind of what you're doing. So take an hour in your off time and watch a YouTube video about how to get better at social media. Keep up with the trends. You're never going to get better at anything just accidentally. You're going to have to put in some work and do a little research and figure out, okay, if I really want this to be a big part of my business, let me take a little bit of time and learn some more things about it. So if you're watching this, kudos to anyone watching this that's looking to get better. But, outside of what we're doing here and the information we're sharing, there's hours and hours of information on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok that will help you get better at social media. So I'd say those 3 things. It's never too late to start, be consistent, and then invest in the skill and invest some time and learn the knowledge that's associated with, building a good social media platform.
Amazing.
Profile.
You got it. I couldn't agree more, James. Thank you so much for joining us today. I got to run, but
Absolutely.
If anyone wants to find you, find your YouTube, find you on Instagram, is it just your handle on screen there, James_Shelby?
Yeah, that's the easiest way on Instagram. If you just Google me or you search on YouTube, James Shelby, I'll come up. And anyone that needs help, shoot me a DM. I'm always here to help. That's a big part of what I like to do is give back.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, James. Thank you
Thanks,
for joining
Andrew.
us yet again on the podcast today. To everyone watching, to our audience, join us every Thursday at 1:30 Mountain Time, and like and subscribe, and we will catch you next week. Thank you again, James. We'll see you later.
Thank you.